So, financial literacy is kind of, I'd say over the past 5 years, it's gone from some people kind of trying to know about it to really being more in the spotlight, right? But there's still people out there who don't really understand like what it is and why it's important. So, I kind of wanted to make a whole video about, what it is, why it's important, why it matters, a whole bunch of different things, right? Because today, a lot of people they don't really have that much understanding about finances in general, right? In fact, a lack of financial understanding may underscore why many Americans struggle with saving and investing. Every few years, the Financial Industry Regulatory Authority issues a short financial literacy test as part of its National Financial Capability Study. Now, the test measures consumers' knowledge about interest, compounding, inflation, diversification, bond prices, so on and so forth, right? Generally speaking, the study found that performance on the test correlated with key indicators of financial capability. On the most recent test, just over a third of respondents got four or more questions out of five correct, suggesting widespread financial literacy, right? So, there's some changes in consumer habits and financial products which have made it harder for Americans to manage their finances. In the past, most people used cash for their daily purchases. Today, you swipe that credit card, right? In 2019, credit use accounted for almost 30% of payments, right? Up from 24% in 2017. So the way we shop has also changed. Online shopping is now the top choice for a lot of people, like the majority, which can make it easy to use and overextend credit, an all too convenient way to accumulate debt very quickly. Meanwhile, credit card companies, banks, and other financial institutions are inundating consumers with credit opportunities, the ability to apply for credit cards or pay off one card with another. Without the proper knowledge, it's easy to get into financial trouble. Financial planning is long term. People cannot depend on one time windfalls such as the stimulus checks that got distributed, right? Instead, individuals need to shore up their financial knowledge to manage their day to day financial lives while also taking a longer view for the future. Well, what is financial literacy? Okay, financial literacy is the knowledge and application of various financial skills. These may include creating a budget, understanding how credit works, saving for retirement. Financial literacy includes understanding different financial instruments, stocks, bonds, ETFs, creating an investment plan, budgeting. It's an all-encompassing thing. It's so big. So if we if we get a decent understanding of everything that's with financial literacy, we talk about why it matters and why it's important. Well, first, let's talk about why it matters. All right. From day to day expenses to long term budget forecasting, financial literacy is crucial for managing, these factors, right? It's important to plan and save enough to provide adequate income in retirement while avoiding high levels of debt that might result in bankruptcy, defaults, foreclosures. Yet, in its economic well being of U.S. households in 2020 report, the U.S. Federal Reserve System Board of Governors found that many Americans are unprepared for retirement. Over one fourth indicated they have no retirement savings, and fewer than 4 in 10 of those not yet retired felt their retirement savings are on track. And, among those who have self directed retirement savings, more than 60% admitted to feeling low levels of confidence in making retirement decisions. Low financial literacy has left millennials, the largest share of the American workforce, unprepared for a severe financial crisis. Even among those who report having a high knowledge of personal finance, only about 20% answers questions about fundamental financial concepts correctly. 43% report using expensive alternative financial services, such as payday loans and pawn shops. More than half lack an emergency fund to cover 3 months of expenses. And 37% are financially fragile. This is defined as unable or unlikely to be able to come up with $2,000 within a month in the event of an emergency. Millennials also carry large amounts of student loan and mortgage debt. In fact, about 44% of them say they have too much debt. Though these may seem like individual problems, they have a wider effect on the entire population than previously believed. All one needs is to look at the financial crisis of 2008 to see the financial impact on the entire economy that arose from a lack of understanding of mortgage products, creating a vulnerability to predatory lending. Financial literacy is an issue with broad implications for economic health. Okay, well, why is this important? Okay, financial literacy is important not only because financial literacy provides a foundation for informed financial decision making, but because financial responsibility is increasing. In the past, for instance, employers would manage employees' retirement accounts. Today, the individual assumes more of this responsibility via self directed retirement accounts. In addition, the scope of financial products has broadened and credit is more widely accessible, placing more choices in the hands of consumers. Let's talk about an example. One example of financial literacy is the management of day to day expenses. Consider a person who has an income of $3,000 a month. If they manage their expenses properly, they would keep their expenses at no higher than $3,000 to avoid going into debt. Preferably, if you're making about $3,000 a month, you wouldn't be spending more than about $2,000 a month, so you could save $1,000, and of that thousand, you would invest part of it and save part of it, right? So what's the bottom line here? What are we talking about? All right. Well, any improvement in financial literacy will have a hugely profound impact on people and their ability to provide for their future. There's recent trends that are making it all the more imperative that consumers understand at least basic finances because they're now asked to shoulder more of the burden of these investment decisions in their retirement accounts, all while having to decipher more and more complex financial products and options. Becoming financially literate is not easy, but when mastered, it can ease life's burdens tremendously. They were in the past, requiring consumers to select from different options that offer varying interest rates and maturities, decisions they, often are not adequately educated to make. These choices can impact a consumer's ability to buy a home, finance education, or to save for retirement, adding these to the decision making pressure. So hopefully you guys, I try to, most of the stuff that I talk about here is usually people in my personal life who ask me a question. I usually try my best to look up the information and give it to them and go from there. So hopefully, if you made it all the way through this, you guys got some good information. And if you like the video, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button. If you're not subscribed to the channel, I'd appreciate if you did. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Be safe.